Istongonjo Kayadega. That's for one, remember. Two, Istongonjo Kayadega. Did y'all make it through the night okay? And that's all that's saying because we don't have a good morning. And you know, that's weird that we don't have good morning. It just says, did you make it through the night okay? And you know, we share that a lot, like wake services. Even in the morning, they saw each other somewhere. Make it through the night okay? You know, and then if it was a group, just don't go like a funeral. You know, especially when people's been setting up all night, they'll walk in to cook, or they'll say, it's don't go. Did y'all make it through the night okay? You know, I used to hear that when I was growing up because, you know, like I told you, my family and as still carried it on. I still follow what my family did. The wake service, the dinners, you know, we still follow them. You know, what I was taught, I grew up with, and I'm still looking for pictures, and I'm going to bring that picture of my grandmother, that the way she dressed every day. And a little dressier when she went to town, but it was basically the same thing. Mm-hmm. You know, and I remember, you know, her long white hair. And she would, when she got up in the morning, she would take the combs that she put in her hair. She put combs, flat combs on the side of her head right here to hold her hair back. And she would use that same comb and comb her hair to the side. And she would braid it. And then she would put it in a bun and then use pins, not bobby pins like we see now. They were different kind of pins. They were wider, and she would stick them in there, and that held her hair. And then she would put on her scarf. Well, as time went on, I was older, you know, and I guess she had arthritis in her shoulders, maybe it got where she couldn't comb her hair. So when she got up, in the morning, I would use the same thing that she always combed her hair with. I would braid her hair, and I would circle it in the back and use those same pins. It seemed like she used those same pins all the time. You know, I don't know how long they lasted, and I don't know.
Let me see if I can figure it out.
I don't know if you can find those pins now, those hair pins now.
No, baby, it's just off. You go take it onto the wood, and then it should work. Okay. Yep, put it down and put it on the wood, and you can drive it.
I think so. So, and you know, when she did that, you know, and then, you know, she was old, and I would help, you know, she would put on her skirt, her little top, and then she put on her apron. And, you know, I don't even know if you can find the scarves now that she had. They were square scarves, and she put them in a certain way that she put it around her head, you know. And that's how she was. This was every day, but now when we went somewhere, like she had to go to the store, she would wear, there was something for home and something to wear out. And you know, even in the summertime or wintertime, you know, like my family, you know, we wore house shoes in the house. She didn't. Summertime, she was barefoot. Wintertime, she wore shoes all the time. And then I want to say hose, but they weren't. They were thick socks looking things that, you know, that she wore with her shoes. And the shoes we only found in a certain place. And this was in a little town west of us. And they were tied, but they looked like they had heels on them. You can't find them anymore, I don't think. You know, and you know, it's strange how the dresses were, and you couldn't buy the dresses at Walmart because my mom had to make them. My mom sewed them. My mom sewed her dresses, so if she wanted a new dress, she'd tell my mom, and my mom would sew it for her when she got to where she couldn't sew.
You take the zipper and you take it up around the side.
So, you know, this was everything that I was raised with. Okay, we're gonna go to rare words rarely used, but remember that, you know, always say "Istungon Jokayadega" to one person, but go to another. If you see a group, say "Istungon Jokayadega ga," and that means you make it through the night. Okay, you make it. Because my mom used to say early in the morning and at night is when these things happen. That's what she used to tell us. So bosses come in cream mokchoga, dragon, danaloga, poke salad. I'll get those for you. For the hairpins, Digayacy. It's Halatka, I think it was. Hairpins. And then the hose was just Istili Shahojechka, like we've been studying the socks. And they were thick, but they weren't like these hose now, they were beige looking and they were thick.
Mvhayv,
Huh?
what is poke salad?
Osha. Now these are words that you rarely ever hear. Poke salad, osha. Dragonfly, dabashana.
Mvhayv,
Huh?
let me show you real quick
Okay.
if I can get it. See this hat I have, my bonnet, when I go outside? This belonged to my grandma. And I
Really?
kept it over the years. And so I put it on my bonnet. I found it again because I have a drawer with scarves in them. And so I had several of hers. And so this is one of them. And I put it on my sun hat, my straw hat.
I wish we kept my grandma's stuff. And the thing about it is this, she had a son that was living with her, and my grandma put a lot of stuff in boxes and told my mother to take them. She said, "Here, take these. Save us. Don't take them. Go ahead and take them." And my mom, being her mother was still alive, she said, "No, I'll get them later." And all her dresses, her shoes, her scarves, even her pins. And we bought her, she wore a pin on her blouse all the time. They all disappeared. We don't know where they are. And my mom regretted that. She said, "I should have took them when she told me to. I should have took them." But to Mom, it felt like that she was taking things while she was still alive. But my grandma knew that they probably wasn't going to be taken care of. And that happens in a family. My mother told me to keep my grandma and grandma's pictures. She said, "Always keep them." Well, I don't have them because they were taken. And that's the thing with, I'm glad you got that, Ella. I'm glad you kept that because you can't find those scarves anymore. And those pins they were old pins that we bought for her when like Christmas, birthdays, and you can't, and I don't even have those pictures. They were original pictures too of my grandma and grandpa, and my mom, she told me that. She said, "Always keep these. Never," and you know what? That always keep them, but the person that took them, I don't know, they're not following what my mom said. Let's put it that way. They're not following what my mom said. Dragonfly, dabashana. Daddy long legs.
Mvhayv, can we back up to the poke salad?
Usha.
No, in Hawaii, that is raw fish. Is it something else that you're saying?
Now what?
She's trying to ask what poke salad is.
Oh, poke salad. Well, poke salad, they grow in a bush, and they're wide leaves. And you have to get them when they're young, I heard, or they're tough, just like anything else. But they grow in a bush, kind of like this, and they got leaves, and they kind of got a hairy leaf to it, kind of it's got fuzz on it. And you have to boil them. There's a certain way to cook them. So You know, my mom ate them when she was young, but she didn't never really feed it to us, but she fixed it one time and I didn't like it. It made my mouth feel, I don't know, it made my mouth feel funny. It made it, I don't know. And it didn't kill us because they say if you don't boil it enough, it'll kill you. It's poisonous. So she boiled it and boiled it and boiled it and boiled it and everything, and then finally fixed it. I didn't like it.
That's what it looks like right there.
It's kind of got leaves, kind of got fuzz on it, and they're huge. You know, they get huge.
They
But-
grow wild, but now,
Yeah, they grow wild,
nowadays some people are growing them in the garden.
Yeah, well, you know, back then we were looking, you know, people would look for a while, and then and then they eat a lot of mushrooms, and I don't know how to pick mushrooms either. And my daughter, she said, everybody's, and you know, we live in that small town. She goes, everybody's talking about mushrooms. I'm gonna go look for them. And I said, you better know what you're looking for, you know. And she said, well, they showed me what I'm looking for. And I said, I hope you know, but she couldn't find any. She said, I don't know where you find them. You know, she didn't know where to find them. But osha is poke salad. Dragonfly is dabashana. And you know, you don't hardly hear that dabashana. Because you know, there's not much speakers left. You know, and for one thing. And another thing is that, you know, you don't hear. We were told. I mean, you know, every time we saw one, they say there's a dragonfly. And then daddy long legs, double shoulder. You don't hardly hear that, but now see it. Things like this as I'm going through with my grandkids, you know, like I'll say if we see one. We haven't saw one so far this summer, but daddy long legs, we've seen those and we'll say and see, a spider's different from daddy long legs. It looks like a spider, but they got a different name. Mvhayv.
I was a part of the herbal community for many years, an herbalist, and taught it. And there was one of the Seminole tribe that came out here and said that they here in Florida don't eat the mushrooms because it's considered ghost food.
Well, yeah, every tribe's got their own little things, you know, like us, you know, we don't, you know how in Christmas, like the what do you call them? Mistletoe. My mom won't let mistletoe in our house because she said that belongs to those little people. And that's where they live and that's their food. And she said, don't bring it in the house. She'll tell us. She was adamant too. Don't you bring that in the house. Because she said that's where the little people live. And that's their food.
Never heard of that.
Yeah. And so she didn't like it in the house. You know how everybody decorated with mistletoe. We never had a mistletoe in our house, you know. And like you said, like us though, like you said, the mushroom was ghost food. Chicken is ghost food in our tribe. Well, for us, I'm not gonna say the whole tribe now, because see, everybody's got different teachings, but that was ghost food. They said the ghosts eat that. So when we ate chicken, we couldn't eat it cold. We had to heat it up and serve it hot all the time. So even if it was in the refrigerator, we had to heat it up first, then eat it, because they said the ghosts like to eat that. And you know, another thing, talking about spirit, you know, we only have to say eat. We only say eat one time. We'll say it loud enough in our house. But you know, before I'd go around saying homba, homba, and nobody would come to the table. And my mom used to say, if you say it too many times, ghosts will eat first. And that's a no-no for us. We can't, you know, and so I don't know if I told you I seen my mother, and I don't know if I explained. I seen my mother, and I told my husband, I'm gonna tell you to eat one time, and if you don't come, that's up to you, because we just had a visitor. And I said, I'm gonna tell you one time. I'm not gonna tell you again. Because they said if you say it too many times, ghosts will be the one that eats and not people. And you know, that's they say it makes you sick if you eat after a spirit, you know, for us, now for my family now. So, you know, we couldn't, that's how come they told us not to say going around. Now, my grandson, he says it loud enough and he'll run from one end of the house saying, Hombokje. Make sure everybody, and then if there's some in the den, then he'll go to the den and go, Hombokje, you know, so he makes sure everybody hears it. Okay, Daddy Longlegs, double fully. Island, Odi. Usually once in a while, do mahi, and that, listen to tone, do mahi, not mukis. Something happened that was unusual, but that's how you would use it, you know. So somebody said, can't just do fungus. And you know, it happened. That's another one we use, but you don't hardly hear these anymore. Doing much, because back then when they told a story, this was a lot of it.
Yeah.
This was a lot of it. Domahi.
Yeah.
And you know, they used to say, not domahi moyimats. Something unusual happened. See, I made a sentence with that. Not domahi moyimats. Something unusual.
Mahaya. And
Uh-huh.
they would put that emphasis on the
Yes.
certain.
Yeah, when they told stories, you know, it made it interesting because they would put these tones in there. Something scary, they put a tone in there. Something funny, they put that tone in there to make it. And then something serious now, they had a tone for it too. You know, like, you know, my mom would tell us like, don't do this. And I'd say, so, and you never asked why, it was said and done. But you know, a lot of times I would say, Nackstormen, why? Nackstormen. And she'd say, Ajulagit Malgagadi dos. The elders said it, and that was the end of it. That was in it. Ajulagit Malgagadi dos. That was the end of it. See, she made a statement and that was it. She didn't say why or anything. Once in a while she'd go into something, but that was very often. Hathisi Dibagat, solar eclipse. You know what? I never knew we had a word for solar eclipse. And that might not be even one, Hathisi Dibagat, but she used to say, Probakta Logat. The frog swallowed it. Shobakta is a toad frog. Shobakta Logat, lunar eclipse. She used to say Hatisi, which is moon, Shobakta Logadokji. The frog is swallowing the moon. I mean, Dogas, Mock Dogas, I am saying it. I mean it. I'm saying it. Mock Dogas. Mock means short for Magida, to say. And it's Mock Dogas. And I heard a lot of you didn't listen to that. You were, you know, that was a tone too.
I didn't know what it meant back then, but the tone.
The tone.
I got
Dogas.
like, oh.
I'm doing Dogas, like no thatch Dogas. I'm cooking. I am doing something, you know, you add like you add to this, I am doing like a chore. No thatch homebida, no thatch Dogas. I am cooking food. Not Okoshwish, I am doing laundry. Dogas now. Dogas now. Chicken dogas, me just now do it. You know, and that, and you know, my husband says that not dogas, he'll say, you kids clean off your table, you know. And he'll say, gas. He'll just say it in a way where these kids, you know, they like look at him, you know. And so my little middle one, she's the she's just real soft spoken and really kind hearted, you know. Hey,
Mahaya, going back up to that one, Moadish is how we would say it. It happened. Moadish is the way I've always heard it.
yeah, either way is good. More you might.
I think I think it's situation,
Yeah, it is.
the way that, whatever they're talking about, you know.
Like months is happened long time ago. Moyadis.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just that I've heard them, you know, like being used in a different, maybe a different situation or setting or something.
Uh-huh.
So,
When you're telling a story, both of them would work, you know.
yeah.
In that situation, you know, like it did happen and it happened, you know, it happened. So, okay, we're gonna go to this right here. Morning breakfast. Bogox. Y'all get up. You know, I heard that so many times. My grandmother, you know, and you know, I don't know. To me, when I was growing up, she was old then. And I was about 14 when she passed. She hadn't been old, but you know, she would cook breakfast. The sun wouldn't even be up. And you know, when you're a teen, you know, Saturdays was a time to sleep in, you know, because you didn't have school and you didn't, you know, we wanted to sleep in. Well, when grandma, if she had her little apron with her clothes in it, she was gonna spend the night, you know. And of course, my mom, you know, she would go get her, and that she'd spend 2 or 3 weeks with us. Sometimes she'd spend 2 days with us. Sometimes she'd spend 3 days with us. But anyway, when she was gonna spend the night, I was like, oh my, you know. But you know, I wouldn't trade those days for nothing. But you know, it was okay. Breakfast is gonna be before sunup. You know, it's gonna be sunup, and she would walk in there and say, boys. Y'all get up. Hayat geese. Bogox, hayat geese. She's saying, get up. Y'all get up. It's already morning. It has
Mahaya, when we were growing up, we just thought that's the way it was in every family. You know, getting up early and eating breakfast because home habit full to walk smoggy doing much.
Yeah, Chilakwi weddings.
And I thought, Nani so honey, and you know, she just looked at me, you know, and said, home bus, you know. And so here we are, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, eating breakfast. And I just always thought everybody did that. I didn't know anything about sleeping late.
Well, sleeping in for us now was 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. And my mom, you know, she said, y'all eat, but we didn't feel like eating, you know. We would later to the last minute, we had to eat like a sandwich, like we put a cold egg on the light bread, you know, or biscuit, and put the meat, what we had, probably toshina, salt meat, and we'd make sandwich and eat it. But you know, it's rare now for families to eat breakfast. Now, I cook breakfast every Saturday, you know, but during the week, you know, I get up, you know, there ain't nobody gonna get up anyway. And then, you know, it's so early that, you know, we don't never eat breakfast till Saturdays. And this past Saturday, it was rainy here. So I asked my kids, what do y'all want? They said, abadaga, Mickey Mouse, abadaga. I said, Mickey Mouse, abadaga? Yeah, we want Mickey Mouse, abadaga. Well, you know, I made it for him, you know, but this time I was like, no, no mice this time. And they were like, do we have abadaga? And I said, yeah. So we had abadaga, you know. So they know what that is. So, you know, they used to say, hayat geese. They were saying, get up, it's morning. That's what they actually meant.
Well, Mahaya and Ella, that's how it was with us, but I thought it was because my dad had served in the military and he got used to it before he had kids. It just raised us like we were in the military.
Well, you know, my grandma had this belief that You go to bed late and wake up early. And I don't, she used to say, you go to bed late because something could happen and somebody might come calling or something. And then you wake up early because, and that's what I was gonna say. They used to tell us that something usually happens early in the morning or late at night. That's what she said. Even death, she used to say most deaths comes early in the morning or late at night. And I don't, that maybe that's why, I don't know. She used to say, go to bed late, get up early. So she would keep us up till like 11:30 and then get us up by 5 o'clock, before sun up. And then say, Hombas, hey, ho ye dos. Hombas means eat, it's a command. They are hot. Hey, ho ye dos. They are hot. That's plural. Knock iskida ajanas. Pour something in to drink. Knock iskida. Something to drink is knock iskida. Pour it in ajanas. Jostagi is eggs. And that's another thing we've taught our kids, jostagi. And they know what that is. And then they asked this question, why is it called jostagi? And I'm like, it's Muskogee. And they said, well, eggs, that one I had the little boy, he was going, eggs, jostagi. Eggs, jostagi. And I said, and so he told me yesterday, he was saying, eggs, jostagi. Eggs, jostagi. And I said, what are you doing? He said, and that just completely went out of his mind. And he started telling me this story. Mama, he said, Grandma, we asked Mama, what is homogy and what is okjanwa? And he says, she just looked at us and we told her, Magas. Say it. He said, we told Mama to say homogy, Magas, okjanwa, Magas. And I said, did she? He said, mm-hmm. And then just went off like it was not, I don't know what he was getting at, but I don't know what he was doing for one thing, because he sat there and said, eggs, jostagi. Eggs, jostagi. Then he said, you know what, Grandma? And then he went to the story. I don't know what he was doing. Okay, something to drink. Not is something. Iskida to drink. Pour it in. This is a command. Agendas. Pour is agenida. Infinitive verb. Agenida. But when you say agendas, it means pour it in. Eggs, jostagi. Pancakes, abadaga. And abadaga, remember that, something that lays against something. So it's abadaga. Mikuja is bacon. Maybe. She said maybe he was imitating each teacher. Never thought of that.
Or he was memorizing it.
We used to imitate my mom and dad. My dad was a preacher and a professor, and so was my mom. So that would be natural, imitate grandma.
Magas.
Well, he told his mom that. And then just pig meat, okay, this would be, because we have a word for salt meat, docina, pig meat, docina. Bacon, mikoja, which is pig meat, but we don't have a word for sausage. And so we just say shokabishwa. This word situation environment would come in, shokabishwa. So if you come to the table at breakfast time, what we have, you would say shokabishwa, and of course it'd be sausage, wouldn't it? Because if it was salt meat, they'd say doshina. If it was bacon, they'd say mikoja. Okay. So little bread, that's biscuit though. We call dakleg the biscuit, daklegoji, little bread. Dakleg guspi is toast, or dakleg ichkupki, roasted bread. Okay, either one. Jelly, not nofa. That means something cooked. And I never got this, but all my life I knew jelly or jam. It's not nofa. Butter, bishiniha, bishiniha. Green, syrup Nihi Jumba. And see, my grandkids know that because the little girl was saying, the middle one now, she was saying Nihi Jumba. And they got the tone and everything. You know, they got it when they were little, Nihi Jumba. Friday, Chustagi, Sagmoski. Scrambled eggs, Chustagi Kafagi. Kafagi means whipped. Orange juice, Yalaha Obushwa. Remember, Obushwa can be used with anything. It can be orange, grape, apple. Just add the fruit to the front of it and make it a Bushwa. Wagabisi. Wagabisi is cowbell. And coffee. Coffee. See, that's a descriptive. So my little grandson, he really don't know what the word is. All he knows is wagabishi. So he'll go to the refrigerator and say, wagabishi, grandma, wagabishi. And that child will pick milk over pop. Kool-Aid, anything. We go through a gallon in about 3 days. He loves wagabishi. So he's got wagabishi. We have to have that all the time. And he'll say, grandma, get wagabishi, you know. So he loves wagabishi. Okay, look here. It's broke down. Right here.
Mvhayv, when you were talking about, before you start this one, this, you know, this area, Sunday, Yehegere in Hamatahmat, An Yehega Smagen, that song in the Sweet By and By. I know the English, I've always, you know, we've always sung that one, but I had never heard it in Creek. And so An Yehega Samagen, and I said, Strom An Yehega Hansaget in Bohan. One, man Yehega and Dad Stoshmagen. And so he told me what it was, and I thought, oh, I said, Mara Gita Godoshmag Monayan. And so he said, well, he said, Okanaya Chidano what? Yadoshmagen. So he showed me the song in Creek. And I was like, okay. And I looked it over and I thought, well, how many are you going to do? And I thought, well, if he says 2, I can do that real, you know, read it and practice it real quick. And I looked at it, and Mvhayv, I was so happy with me. I could read it. I had not seen it in Muskogee until Sunday morning. And Yadoshmagen, Hijayan, I could read it.
Good.
And so 15 minutes later, he said, okay, it's our turn, Makenoa. So I went up there and I sang with him. And it just blessed my heart that those words came so naturally because I could read it.
Yeah.
Mado.
Yeah.
And you know,
Mvhayv, kind of like Ella's story. When we sang hymns last week at our reunion, the sounding of the words came easier to me, you know, as I followed the leader singing, because we've been doing this in class, you know. Pronunciating the words correctly is what I'm trying to say.
this is my purpose. And you know, I want to share something with you that I don't share with very many people. Okay. About 11 years ago, I got really, really ill. I had a 1% chance of survival. They said, call the family in. And I had a nephew in Iraq. And he was in Afghanistan in the war. And he said, should I come home? And my brother said, you stay there, but be on alert. And he said, one time, I'll let you know. But he had already contacted Red Cross saying, okay, just let us know when you have to fly back. We'll fly you back to Oklahoma. Well, I stayed in a hospital 15 days. I was in ICCU, intensive critical care. And what killed my father, I had. And he died at 62, I think. I had the same thing he has. And so I come home, I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk. The doctors told my husband I could be a vegetable. I couldn't walk. I weighed 112 pounds when I got out of the hospital. And he told me, the doctor said, you're going to have a lot of physical therapy. You're going to have the whole, I had in-home care after I come home. I was that way and I've had surgeries after surgeries after surgeries after surgeries. I don't even want to tell you how many surgeries I have. So after all that, and my husband, he stayed by my side. My mother was alive then. They were there, my kids, they lived at the hospital for 15 days. And then I come home and they had to care for me because I couldn't actually move. And this right here was my purpose. I wasn't done yet. I wasn't done. And my husband told me, he said, when you were, I was conscious, but not, I was just awake. He said, you kept speaking Creek. He said, you spoke to everybody that came in, whether they knew or not, Muskogee language, because that was my first language. Well, when I got into this, I knew I found what I had to do. I had to do it, and you people are making that come for me. And when this gets done, I'm ready because I know where I'm going. It's a very peaceful place.
You can speak to the ancestors and everything.
It's a very peaceful place. I didn't want to come back where I was at. And first thing when I started, when I woke up and things started coming to me, first thing I heard on the news was a carjacking. Back then there was carjackings. I could not believe it. I told my husband. He said, what's the matter? I said, what's this world coming to? I said, there was a carjacking and they killed somebody. I said, Mike, this was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I said, it was on the news. I said, they killed somebody. And I was in tears. They killed somebody. And he said, baby, it was like that when you left. And he said, you just don't remember. And see, I didn't remember that. What I had, that I left that behind because where I was at was so peaceful. But then when I came back, that's the first thing I saw on the news. And talk about a shock. And I was like, oh, I couldn't believe it. And my husband just thought it was, he said, it was that way when you left. He said, you're back into the world now, babe. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to be here. That.
Thank you for sharing. So my piece, Anhikita.
Okay, you said that, Ella, you sung that. It's like, Netasen hayayamidomis agasamga idithobunti obeyes injidais Ugera Chambosa Medaba Isusa Ugera Chambosa Medaba Lande Giasis Afatgaged Eikan Madabalanya Heiasis Stufes Pofik no Pokikosis Yoksa Sigon Figa Biasis Okira Champosan Medaba Itosan Okira Champosan Medaba Lande. That, and you know when you can sing these.
You can feel the power of them.
Yeah. You can feel it. And you know, in English, that's what I'm saying. It's different in Muskogee and in English. To me, in English, you can just sing it. In Muskogee, you can feel it.
Mvhayv, years ago when I was 15 or 16, that's when we finally started going to a Creek church in Los Angeles. And that's all they did. They sang in Creek. Go on. So I got to where I started really listening to what they were saying. And I thought, I know that. I mean, I understood what they were saying. And so that's what made it easier for me to learn the songs, because I knew the words. And once I heard it, it made a lot of sense. And so that's why people now wonder why I can do that, but I've never learned to read or write, until now. And so, again,
Makes my heart burst, to hear that, because, it's amazing to read it sometimes and to understand it. It's a lot.
mhm.
And so, when I started teaching this, it's people like you that takes this class that's going to fulfill what I'm after. It's going to fulfill it. And that's what I
And
want.
so, for years and years, ever since I was like 5 or 6, when I was learning to read in English, Grandma would make me read, the 23rd Psalm, and then she made me read the Lord's Prayer. And so now that I can read the Lord's Prayer in Muskogee, it just blesses my heart to be able to do that.
You don't know how much it's blessed me. You just don't know.
So it just, like you said, it just makes it a world of difference. And I don't know how many people over the years that I have met that always said that, thank you for helping me. Because I did this for a Japanese lady one time, because she wasn't quite getting it. She wasn't understanding, what the gospel was about. And I said, why don't you come with me? Because we're going to have a Japanese pastor or evangelist come to our church, and he's going to be speaking for a couple of nights. And she came, and she said, I've always heard that people say you understand it better when it's in your language. And so she is a strong Christian woman now, and she has started several missions there in San Diego. And because of her being able to hear it in her language, she understood it better. And so
we just started, such a good companion tool for this, every things like this. We started Mvhayv so we could get the phone. We're working on it. We're working on that. We're trying. Okay, it says wash your face. You know, this is another one you talked about spirit. They used to say, first thing you do get up before you eat is wash your face, because they used to tell us the ghost will kiss you at night, you know. And they'll say, "Jirotofa okoset. Jirotofa okoset." Wash your face. Jirotofa. Remember, ji is second person pronoun. Jirotofa. So if I say my face, I say jadotofa. But if I say your face, I say jirotofa okoset. Wash it. Wash it. Okay. Eat, they will get cold. Hombas kasapoyahis. Hombas is eat. Cold will get cold. It's supposed to be kasapoyahis. They will get cold. They will get cold. Nak iskida or jidos. There is something to drink. This saying something to drink. There is something. Something to drink have is. That's what it's saying. Something that we have something to drink. We have something to drink. Okay. There are eggs. Eggs have is. I'll say, you know, like if somebody doesn't know, they'll say there's eggs. You know, I'll say, okay, what is it? A book. Thor has a question. Okay. He wants to know this my God. Okay, right here. I'm gonna go back to that, okay? For just for alegidos. Alegi means to. It can mean several different things. This is where situation environment comes in, Thor. Like alegi means like if you're sitting down, they tell you to get up, alegas. If you're laying down, alegas. But alex son, the same thing. Alega. Alegidos. Hashi alegidos. The sun is coming up. It's getting up. But you know, alegidos. See, when it says y'all get up, sun's already up. Alegidos, when you say that is up, it's already up sitting there. Okay, does that make sense to you, Thor? Is that a good explanation for alegi? I don't know if that's what you're asking. Is that, you know, or does that make sense to you, Thor? Does that answer your question? Okay.
Ayubitskus.
Huh?
See, an Ayubitskus. May you answer?
Yeah. Yeah. So see, that's what I said. You know, some of these have situation environment. And how you get, that's how come I'm breaking these down, you know. And it's gonna get, okay. It's gonna, next class, now this week is our last week. We'll take a break and we're gonna start over. But I want y'all to just take a little, I'm gonna go through this. Command, okay?
Mvhayv? Mvhayv, could you go back up to the top of the page?
Yeah.
Screen, could you go back up? Oh, it's still coming up as breakfast then. Okay, okay. So that's the second page. There's 2 pages then. Okay, Mado.
So right here, there's eggs, you know, pancakes, cooking I am. Abadaga no festoes. But actually what they say, I'm cooking pancakes, but this is how it's being said in Muscogee. Pancakes, cooking, I am. I like bacon, mikoja jayajidos. Bacon I like. Okay. Remember this and that. There's different kinds of breads, and I won't get into all that. Like jellies. Like there are different kind of jellies. See, I'm telling them, we at my house we have grape, strawberry, and mine is apple butter. But my 2 kids is grape and strawberry. So I'll say, not nosa masakagin ojidos. Masakagin means it's different or variety. You know, there are different kinds of jelly. Masakagin means masaka means different, but masakagi is plural. Okay, different kinds right here. Something cooked, different kinds have. Okay, there are different kinds or different varieties. You can put it any way you want to. Bisiniha suksegin jiajidua. Suksegin means spread. Even jelly. You can spread anything you can spread is suksegin. Butter spread on. Do you like? Do you like butter spread on it? Dalegi. Bisiniha suksegin jiajidua. The syrup is thick. Nihi jamba jikfidos. It's saying right here, syrup thick is. That's how we speak. Okay. Justagi sakmosti ojidos. We have fried eggs. Eggs fried have we. Ojidos. We have fried eggs. Do you want scrambled eggs? Justagi gafagi chiaja. Eggs with, do you want? Okay, right here, do you want? Remember, that's a pronoun, second person. So if I turn to Desiree in here and said, Justagi gafagi jiaja. See, I'm talking to her as second person because ja is me. I'm talking about me. Okay. Jayajidos, I would say Jayajidos. Justagi gafagi jayajidos. But G is second person pronoun. Yalaha obushwa. Ambigodos. Orange juice is not sweet. And I've heard that. Okay, Yalaha is orange. Now the real orange, that's what we call an orange now, the fruit. Oboshwa. Jambigo. Jambi is sweet. Go means not. Not means go. Mijigo. Mijigo. That's saying don't do that. But then it says go when you put go is not. Boy, this is getting intense here. Wagabisi jiada. Do you want milk? Do you want milk? But here it's milk. Do you want coffee? Coffee, heidos. Coffee, hot is. That's exactly the literal translation on how we speak. That's literal. And that's, and you know, it might be, you know, it might be weird in English, like if we say coffee hot is, it's not. You know, it's different, but when we say coffee heidos, it's natural. It's natural for our tongue. Okay. Okay, look here. This is just something different that we're going to do because it's almost, class is almost, you know, going to be 6 weeks. We've done 6 weeks, and I hope it's kind of helping. Okay, pointer finger. Ismilga. A lot of people don't know these either. Ismilga. Middle finger. Ingi nafka puifa. Middle finger. Ring finger. You know, they just call it ring finger. We call it hojifka shigo. No name. Hojifka shigo. No name. Pinky. Ingi ichkoji. Ingi ichkoji, ant of the hand. Thumb. Ingi ichki. Palm. Hey, look at that, misspelling. Ingi dabixi or ingi ofa. Dabixi means flat and ofa means inside. Inside the hand or the flat part. I got a misspelling up here. But remember these because a lot of people don't know these. And that's another thing that I said with my grandkids. I say, Ismilga, Ingi nafka puita, Ojifka sigo, Ingi itskozi. Ingi Itski, and they'll, you know, they like to do their hands. You know, I'll say Ismilga, Nafka Puita, Ojifka Sigo, Ingi Itskozi, Ingi Itski, right here. Ismilga, Ingi Nafka Puita, Ojifka Sigo, Ojifka Sigo, Ingi Itskozi, Pinky. Thumb, Ingi Itski. But look here, this is Ingi Itski, mother of the hand. This must be the sister, Ingi Ichikuchi.
Uh-huh.
This is the aunt of the hen. Aunt of the hen, right? Okay, next. Tomorrow we're gonna do something else off the wall, but this is gonna be next week's now, because y'all's getting deeper. Deeper and deeper here. You know, we're getting deeper. Look here, Bertha's going to the store. This is a conversational deal. This is what we're gonna do. It says, I'm going to the store. And this is Bertha now. Niska Jugo, yes. Buy a house, I am going. What are you going to buy? Nagin nisa hacha. Waga bishi niha. Justa gidun. Abishwa. It says, I'm going to get milk, butter, eggs, and meat. We also need flour. Flour we want also. Make a list of what we need to buy, but look what I want you to do is look here in English, it says make a list of what we need to buy. But here, not Nishida, look how this is written. This is how it's said. Things to buy, write it down. Write it down. They don't say a list. See how the difference is here, guys? This is what you're going to be learning next week. After this break, week after next, this is what you're going to be doing. Because it says make a list, but here it just says write it down. We don't do lists. I'm going now. Okay. Who I know? Hayuman. Yes. But we can say Hayun. We can say, oh, I know, Hayun. Yes. It says here, okay, I'm going now. Okay, now I'm going. But we don't have Hayun means now. Or we can say Hayun. Oh, I know, Ayibas. Okay, go ahead and go. After Bertha returns from the office, it's supposed to be store. Where did that come from? That might have been that autocorrect or something on my computer. Okay, it says, are you just getting back from the store? Okay, look here though. Hadi niska jogo. Aya talagitska. Aya talagitska. Hadi. Hadi, I haven't done this in English. Hadi means just now. Door, you went, getting back. See. Ihi hadi talakto wes. Naktin huyo bayes. Yes. Hadi just talak back. I did. Naktin huyo bayes. Here it says I just looked around. Tin huyo bayes means looking around too. Look how long that word is. Din huyo bayes. Din huyo bayes. It's really getting we're gonna go into some deals like this. And like the bears after the honey, it's said different. I got all kinds of stuff coming up from you people.
Maya. Mage Danawat. Whole morning, Bonaira that Bonaira on the Western. Mutanita Hayuin not. Hayuin, what says it sad? He's a such as kiddos. All these words I know that you're talking about, but it just blesses my heart to see them in written form and be able to read it.
Oh.
And see, just like you're saying, I've always heard my grandma talking about our fingers, and it hit me when you started saying them, and I could see them written in black and white, and that I could read it, as well as saying it, I could read it. It just blesses my heart. But
I am am so glad. I am so glad that I can do that for you because, you know, sometimes this language is not appreciated, you know, and but it, that was a form of communication for just my family, you know. And I didn't deserve this language, but it's a privilege. It's a privilege that I can speak it. It's a privilege, not something I didn't deserve, or not something that it's a privilege. And I am so glad, Ella, that you can do that because it really touches my heart. It touches my heart, but it's a privilege, because it was taken away from us at first, but Amy, it was taken away from us. It was robbed from us, it was everything. And that's why I call it a privilege. It was a privilege. It's a privilege for me to speak it. And it's a privilege for me to teach you guys. It's an honor to teach you guys. To me, it's an honor because there's just some people don't even care, they don't know how important it is, but it is. So I am so happy for you, Ella. So
when I was in school, so hosted, Muskogee man, Bonai, and what? So, how are you doing, my dear son? Not more about girl or Sunday holding. No worries. I'm just going to be by no one. Jaboshi, when I doing my dear son. So, hosted, Muskogee man, Bonai, those kids, and what? Man, Jibotaman, Jihosachis, to get your mother.
Yeah.
Morris, not my holy stories. When I don't want us to get hold of my dog. Jihosachis, to get to do the bosom. Because Madalgosimo, when I don't come and man, when I do my this one. Was all through school, I'd forget. And people would try to tell me, teachers would tell me, you need to speak English. And I said, I know, but sometimes I forget. And then I go home and I tell my grandma what they were saying. And she says, well, your grandpa told you. This is what you need to do. You need to speak your language and don't you forget it. You get hold of your mother. I'm going to do
my grandma.
So again, Mado.
It's a privilege. It's a privilege. It's a privilege. And so we're going to go into sentences like this and I'm going to explain it. Would that help you? Would that help y'all guys? Would y'all like to see something like this? Because I think we need to move forward, break it down, go back to sounds maybe. And it says, Najuma didn't talk to her. What did it cost the other day? Bali Hokol and Jockey Bokagan, Magan Fikes. It's $25 what they said, and that's what I paid. That's so that's what we're going to go into, and I'll explain as much as I can because, I want y'all to speak too. If y'all can, say it, because it's vocal. Language is vocal. I really don't like teaching on paper, but it's vocal. And so it's a vocal. I want y'all to be vocal. And, I always tell my students, proud people, loud and proud, because that's what I am. I'm loud and proud. Loud and proud. And it's a privilege, guys. And it's a privilege for me to teach y'all, to teach you guys, because, with this language being the way it is, it's what if it dies? Imagine. And not just literally, but what if the speakers die, when they die, you know, and then it just dies. Yeah, I just can't see my world without the language. And like I said, my world's my home. I draw up the bridge when I get home. I'm pure Muskogee when I get home. You know, I take off my dress clothes and I go in there, and weekends we have traditional foods. I'm pure, you know, Muskogee, because that's the way I was raised. And it might not be good for some, but it's good enough for me. You know, all my little deals I live is all Muskogee, you know. And you know, like I said, it might not be for some, but it is for me. Because that's how I was raised. And it didn't hurt me. I'm still alive. It didn't kill me. And so I still live that way. And my husband, you know, he didn't live that life that I did, even though he had elderly parents. And he said, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. And he said, I like sharing this Muskogee life with you. He said, I have learned so much. And he said, I am proud. He said, I can actually say I married a Muskogee babe. We're serious. He'll go into something serious and then he has to make me laugh. But anyway, Hasiskika Hamga, Ofibiga. Oh, Ibaga in Huyonido. It's past minutes by 6. So I don't hit got boxing to hit again. Now remember, yeah, he says here he it's out man. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Thor, we're gonna go right into it here. And so this week will be my last week, and of course we got Emerging Camp coming up. We're gonna skip that week, and this is what you're gonna look forward to right here. This is what I'm gonna be working on. Spare time right here. So y'all guys be ready. In Dagatin, boxing to hit a gotten. Oh no, boxing is sand. Thursday. Boxing is sand. Wednesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Oh, class. See you, Jonathan.
Ella and Mvhayv and everybody.
Oh, I know. Chicken Jonathan.
But
Uh-huh.